Thank the IAS and the conference co-chairs for giving me the opportunity to share new data on the sustained safety and efficacy of long-acting injectable Cabotegravir for PrEP in the HPTN 084 trial on behalf of my co-authors. HPTN 084 is an ongoing phase 3 randomized controlled trial that demonstrated the superiority of long-acting injectable PrEP Cabotegravir when compared to daily oral TDF-FTC for HIV prevention in individuals assigned female at birth. At a planned interim review in November 2020, the trial was stopped prematurely for efficacy, and the DSMB recommended unblinding of all participants. Participants were subsequently unblinded to their allocated study regimen and continued in follow-up pending approval of a protocol amendment to offer open-label Cabotegravir as part of an open-label extension. In this analysis, we report on the new HIV infections detected by sites and confirmed with the HPTN laboratory center testing in the 12-month period following the initial trial unblinding. That is the period from the 5th of November 2020 to 5th of November 2021. Because of the long-acting nature of injectable Cabotegravir, HIV infections first detected before the 31st of December 21 were assessed for inclusion in the unblinded period. We estimated cumulative HIV incidence over the combined blinded and unblinded periods. We also estimated pregnancy incidence in the unblinded period and report on safety and pregnancy outcomes that occurred in the unblinded period. We've previously reported on HIV incidents during the blinded trial. To recap, during the blinded period, we observed 40 infections in total, 4 in the Cabotegravir group and 36 in the TDF-FTC group. Participants in the Cabotegravir group had an 88% lower risk of HIV infection compared to those in the TDF-FTC group. In the unblinded period, 23 new incident HIV infections were detected, 3 in the Cabotegravir group and 20 in the TDF-FTC group. 2 of these cases, 1 Cabotegravir and 1 TDF-FTC, were determined on subsequent testing to have occurred during the blinded period. The updated cumulative number of incident HIV infections observed in HPTN 084 is 62, with a total of 6 incident infections now observed in the CAB group and 56 in the TDF-FTC group. Overall, HIV incidence was less than 1% across both groups, with participants in the Cabotegravir group now estimated to have an 89% lower risk of HIV infection compared to those in the TDF-FTC group across both the blinded and unblinded period. I'll now walk you through the details of the Cabotegravir infections. We've previously reported on 4 infections detected during the blinded phase. One of those cases, D2, was subsequently confirmed on testing at the HPTN Laboratory Center to have been HIV infected at enrollment. This case was subsequently reclassified as a baseline case and is not included in the current cumulative incidence estimates. Of the 3 new HIV infections in the Cabotegravir group, 2 occurred in the absence of recent drug exposure. Case B3 received 2 weeks of oral CAB before a false positive HIV test. Per protocol, she had study product discontinued. She had a confirmed HIV infection 57 weeks later. Case B4 only took 2 doses of oral Cabotegravir before declining further PrEP. She seroconverted 106 weeks after her last dose. Case C1 was classified as an infection that occurred prior to injections during the oral lead-in. With respect to the details of case C1, in this particular participant, there were no quantifiable Cabotegravir concentrations, shown as orange circles on the graph, during the oral lead-in, highlighting the adherence challenges of an oral lead-in for people who will most likely benefit from long-acting agents. The site first detected the possibility of HIV infection at week 9, the blue line, 28 days after the first Cabotegravir injection. However, testing at the HPTN Laboratory Center confirmed that the HIV infection was already present at the time of the first injection, the red line, and that the viral load was more than 8,000 copies at that visit. The participant returned to the site 4.5 months later when the site confirmed HIV infection and referred her to local antiretroviral therapy services. The participant has declined further follow-up, and we do not currently have information on her ART regimen. Resistance testing of her most recent sample is pending. No new safety concerns were identified during the unblinded period. With respect to adverse events continue to be balanced by a study arm. The majority of grade 2 adverse events were considered unrelated to study product. 2 deaths were reported in the Cabotegravir group, 1 due to sudden death and 1 the result of a headache of unknown origin. In both cases, participants had been receiving injections for more than a year with no obvious concerns. While post-mortem information for both participants is limited, the investigators assessed these events as not related to study product. Injection site reactions were infrequent and none were associated with discontinuation. With respect to pregnancies, an additional 83 confirmed pregnancies, that is, pregnancies confirmed on 2 positive pregnancy tests 4 weeks apart, were observed during the unblinded period. 34 in the Cabotegravir group and 49 in the TDF-FTC group. Pregnancy incidence was notably 2 to 3-fold higher in the unblinded period compared to the blinded period. With respect to pregnancy outcomes, we've got outcome data for 75 pregnancies in total. The majority of outcomes were live births, 31 in the Cabotegravir group and 30 in the TDF-FTC group. When considering pregnancy losses, all were less than 37 weeks gestational age, with 3 occurring in the 20 to 36 week period and the remainder occurring under 20 weeks. Pregnancy loss under 20 weeks includes both elective and spontaneous abortions, as well as 1 case of ectopic pregnancy. These rates of pregnancy loss are consistent with the expected background rates of pregnancy loss. No congenital anomalies were reported. In summary, Cabotegravir continues to be superior to TDF-FTC in preventing HIV infection in individuals assigned female at birth. Participants in the Cabotegravir group had an 89% lower risk of HIV infection compared to those in the TDF-FTC group. All participants are currently being offered access to open-label Cabotegravir as part of the ongoing open-label extension. 3 new HIV infections in the Cabotegravir group were identified. All of these infections occurred in the absence of Cabotegravir injections and in the context of poor or absent study product use. Pregnancy incidence increased in the unblinded period compared to the blinded period. We speculate that this reflects participants' desire to conceive safely in the context of their use of known highly effective PrEP agents. This finding emphasizes the importance of ongoing evaluations of the safety and pharmacology of Cabotegravir in pregnancy during the HPTN 084 open-label extension. Finally, given the significant protective benefits of injectable Cabotegravir in this population of individuals assigned female at birth living in high-burden HIV settings in sub-Saharan Africa, access to Cabotegravir as an additional choice for PrEP should be a priority. In closing, I'd like to acknowledge the immense contribution of many people to the HPTN 084, including our trial sponsor, our funders, the HPTN, the site staff, communities, and especially the participants who have made all this work possible. Thank you for your attention.